Welcome to another episode of the Headlight Restoration Pro, where I'll be showing you how to take headlights like these, rather large, and turn them into something like this. Largely in charge, crystal clear, perfection. Stay tuned.
Why is this study important?
The study is important because driving at night is 3 times as risky as driving during the day.
The Headlight Restoration Pro.
Let's get down to business. Okay, small car, huge lights. This is a 2013 Honda Fit. Okay, I've had 2 this week. Very little compact car. The meaning of compact is this car. Extremely small, fuel efficient, very nice vehicle. Will last you damn near forever. But the headlights won't. These headlights are extremely large for this vehicle. One of the largest headlights out there is also of a Honda. It was a Honda Odyssey, and I'm pretty sure these are damn near the same size of the Honda Odyssey headlight, which is a big giant minivan. These lights are prone to go bad. They are fully forward-facing, which means that they, the surface of the headlights have a exposure to the sunlight all the time. It means they're facing the sun. They're facing upwards. There's no part of the light that's not facing forward. But with a large light, you have to expect to use more product. Don't try to shortchange it and use more aggressive grit. Because this is a Honda, it is a mid-level hardness light. If you can get away with not using the heavier grit and just using more sandpaper, as you'll see I'm doing here, is the better way to go. That was the first sandpaper grit there. So now I'm using another P500 here, just because the light is so big that it is, you gotta think, an average size light, even to medium light, you're going to use, one, the medium size headlight. Depending on how bad it is, you might use 1 to 2 pads. Okay. And with the large headlight, you're going to be using anywhere from 2 to 3. Now, this is a really large headlight. This is pretty much as large as it gets. It's a lot of surface area. I don't know if you can really tell, but look at the size of my hands, which are large, and look at the size of, the size of the tip of the drill and the size of the drill itself in comparison to the size of this light. It's a lot of surface area. It's about the size of, at least 2 medium lights or 3 small lights put together. I don't know why, or the technical reason they do that. They should be really pushing out a serious amount of light, being this big. I would think maybe they do that, and it's really common on small cars. The Toyota Priuses and other cars like that. Have big headlights for some reason. I'm thinking maybe because they're so small, they want to increase the night safety of the vehicle. Something like that. But here is number 3. This is the third P500. And I know some people will be into trying to save money and this and that. But time is money. And first and foremost, you don't want to take off more of the surface that you need to take off. And I've had some questions recently. How far do you go? How deep do you go? And I told them I would address it in the next video. Pretty much, man, like I said in previous videos, the actual thickness of the polycarbonate, the plastic of the headlight, is probably the size, maybe a thin piece of cardboard, or even easier to think of it is in papers. Maybe it's about the size of 15, 16 pieces of paper, anywhere between 15 and 20 pieces of paper, right? All you should need to take off is maybe a quarter thickness of paper, which is damn near nothing. It's barely anything. Normally, you have a lot of room to play with. Like I said, some people also ask, how many headlight restorations can I do before the headlight's just no good? It's paper thin. It would be impossible. I could sit here, it's damn near impossible. I mean, you really could do like probably 20, 30 headlight restorations. Not worry about it if you're skilled. But see how many sandpaper discs I use there? If you're skilled and you know not to, this is my big blower here. This is the big blower. I think I left my small one at home, or it ran out of power or something like that. But anyways, you know, you would take so much. If I were to sit here and try to wear this headlight down all over, or even in just one spot, it would take probably, man, like $200 of pads, and it would probably take about 6 hours to grind through the headlight with a sandpaper disc, even with a tool, even with a power drill like this. And it would also take like 17 batteries. Like, it's that ridiculously like impossible to go too far with headlight restorations. You can literally, I mean, if I had to estimate, you have about 30 of them before your light is no good. Your car is not going to last that long. Sorry to tell you. No car is going to really be driven for 30 years, even if you had to do it twice a year. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So you're perfectly safe with that, long as you're just not being a fool about it and sitting there for 5 hours doing what I'm doing right here in this step. Okay, so as you see here, getting into it with the P800, you want to make sure that you're using your P500 or something else lower to adequately remove all of the damaged surface. You don't want to rely on the P800, even though it's going to give you a smoother surface and it's going to give you a smoother cut. You don't want to rely on it. Why? Money. That's right. It's way more expensive, and in most cases, in general, it's probably about double the price of the anything that's P500 or under. Literally double the price. So they're more expensive. They're more of a precious pad. You don't want to, you want to make sure you adequately use your strong pads for the heavy lifting. And then this is a fine touch pad, as you see here, using the same exact pad that I used grinding with the power tool, same exact one. And you want to do this step here, really fine touches and smooths out those striations and circles. And it does do a little bit of vertical striations or whatever, but those are easily removed with the next polishing step or the next P3000 step. So much easier than circles, much less visible than circles, and that's just because the are swirling. That's just because the filling aspect of anything else that's going on, and the ease of removing it through polishing and or the P3000 step. Once again, I devised this step and threw this step in a while ago, maybe about a year ago, when I noticed I'm just not getting the level of stuff that I want to get, the level of clarity I want to get. I need a more smoother, flawless look to it. And I was having a problem with a little bit of swirling in certain areas, which customer was perfectly fine with, but I'm a perfectionist and I want to be the best that I can be and use the best products that I can. Oh yeah, did you see there? I'm using the double stuff method as well on this, just because it's a curvy light. But anyways, so I went into the lab and started exploring different options, different kind of wet sands, different kind of dry sands, different grits and different things. And what I came up with is simply, the hand sand, dry hand sand with the P800. And you can very well use a new one on there, but don't be wasteful, of course. I still had some grit left on that P800. And as you see here, using a brand new fresh P3000 or just a 3000 Trizac pad, you can call it either or. But yeah, using a fresh one, you can use a one of these pads literally in so many lights. Literally, like, big, small, medium cars, you can use one of these pads probably for about 5-6 cars. Literally, until you stop seeing shimmering on the top, until you stop seeing that light gray coating on the outside, you will know the difference because you will start seeing darker gray come through, and there'll be like light gray spots and dark gray spots. And you'll know once the light gray surface is gone, then the pad is no good. And you'll also know because it's just not polishing, it's just not turning it clear underneath this muck as good. So right here, just using some Windex here, or basic glass cleaner. It's not Windex. If you want to see the cleaners that I use in here, I believe this is the Chemical Guys. I go back and forth. Just you know, there's no huge difference between chemicals or glass cleaner chemicals once you get to a certain level. These are all higher end vehicle grade concentrated that I put in here, and I just dilute a little bit with the water because I get it in bulk, probably by the gallon or 2 gallon, and they last me for, some of them last me for like 6-7 months, believe it or not. So I only have to get it maybe twice a year, if that. Haven't said it in a long time, but liquid is far better. Don't use the foaming stuff because it doesn't drag down the particles as you want. It kind of lifts them, which is not good when you're going to wipe it off. You kind of get a little bit left behind. The liquid stuff really pulls it and drags it down. It also gets in between the crevices better, so you don't have caked up stuff in between the crevices. And I also get the damnedest questions, and I always like grill people kind of, you know, in a nice way and like an instructor way. You know, what you see what I did right there? This pad, this particular finesse pad hadn't been used in a while. It's a little bit dry. So I just sprayed the end a little bit and patted it dry just so it can get to soaking in a little bit of moisture. You don't necessarily have to do that. This one was just sitting in my garage probably for a month or two since I used it. For some reason I took it off and wasn't using it, but now I started using it because I don't like to be wasteful. So but I get the damnedest questions, stuff like this. I still had you know, Headlight Restoration Pro help me. I still had swirls in my finished product, and you know, the scratches in my finished product. And then you know I tell them, hey, have you done everything I've done? Have you I've done everything you've done. I use everything you'd use, and then I draw it out of them, and they're like, oh, I use plastic X, and oh, I wet sanded, and oh, and I'm like, hey, if you're not doing what I'm doing, it's not going to come out. If you're tweaking what the dude who has done so many of them, the dude that is the Headlight Restoration Pro that you watch, and you're tweaking his formula, it's not going to work the same. You know, trust me, I've done whatever you're doing or whatever you were going to try like dozens of times, you know, and dozens of combinations, dozens of different ways. The reason this comes out this way is because what I do and what I'm using, okay? Products and skill, okay? So, you know, with that being said, you know, having issues with your finished product, it just shouldn't be. Why? Because it's step by step. It doesn't go 1, 6, 3, 4, 2. You know, it doesn't do that. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The steps, okay? Just metaphorically. So if you're getting to 6 and you're having a problem, how come you didn't address the problem at 2 or 3 or 4 or 5? Right here, okay? Why wouldn't you have seen it right here? So if you're spraying something on there and you have pock marks, or you have, you know, cuts or divots or scratches or swirls, you should see it right here, correct? So why would you spray and finish your product without fixing the issue that you have? So there's a lot of things like that, like, you know, this is where you check. There's many steps that you check. Every time you finish a step, you check. Okay, now look how beautiful this is already. Always spray your headlights at your clearest point. Okay, as clear as you can get them. Okay, you never want to spray them when they're foggy or whatever, because it's not going to work right. It can look clear like this. It'll look clear like, oh, good. Okay, it's clear, my headlight restoration. But then when you figure out that when a lot of people don't ever figure it out. People that get their headlights done are people that do the actual work. They've never actually tested or have ran tests like I do. They've never pulled up to a building and shined a light on the building. This is the day I learned this. I went to lab for damn near a month and figured out that polishing these headlights before you spray them, polish them to clear perfection before you spray them, makes such a huge difference. And one of my final tests I did is when I sprayed one side after the hazy, where most people on the internet do. You know, you've seen them. Hey, look at this hazy. I spray it, and then I wipe it and I spray it again, and like it was hazy and all fucked up before they sprayed it, right? I used to do shit like that. I used to do headlights like that, and then one day, you know, once I finished doing all my testing, I did a car or two, and I pulled up to a building at nighttime and had one side done like that and one side done like how I do it now. And the light output, let me tell you, is like no joke. It's so ridiculously different. And even on the number chart, because I even held up light meters. This is how I know like my stuff. I'm just real crazy with the testing. I even held up light meters. Visually was pulling up to the building and be like, oh my God, look at the pattern. Look how big this side of the light is. It's taking over that side of the light, right? And then actually holding up light meters in the same exact location, putting a piece of tape on the ground and putting a stand up with the light meter and putting them both the exact same point at each light, you know, super tests. And like having the light meter read like 20, 30 different points off. Those are yards. Those are like yards of light. So don't be fooled by the guys on the internet that sit there and you know, spray the light and it's white and oh my God, look how good it looks. It's like a magic trick. It's just a magic trick. It's not the proper form of headlight restoration because they're not going to work as good. And the number one thing besides clarity and looking good to the eye is it to properly function correctly. This is what saves lives. This is what makes you comfortable to drive at night. This is what makes people see you at night. This is so you can see everything at night. Okay, it saves lives. It saves other people's lives. Saves your lives. Saves your kids' lives. You know, it's, you know, saves a dog crossing the black dog or cat crossing the street in the middle of the night. You know, that you can see them with proper headlights. That's the number one function. Number two, you want to look good. Okay, and as far as look, ain't nothing gonna look better than this. Okay, nothing's going to look better than this, than this method. Okay, I've done all the methods. I've done the 2K clear fast max. I've done the vehicle grade 2K clears. I've done, you know, damn near all the clear coats on the market. You know, a bunch of different sprayable ones and a bunch of different wipeable ones. Okay. And they're just, nothing compares to this method. Nothing compares to this level of clarity. Okay, I've tried them damn near all. It's a big market. There's a lot of new stuff coming out that I have no idea about. But I guarantee you, there's only one highest level. Okay, now if they can be up on the highest level, that's one thing. But they're not going to be above it because there is no above it. There's a ceiling to this, okay? There's just like everything else. You can only be so strong. You can only be so fast. You can only be so big. It can only be so whatever. There's a limit, okay? This is the limit. Well, anyways, check this out. This is the other one I did this week. This is not just the other side. This is a whole different vehicle. I did not film it. I just did this little tiny film right here just to show or include it in this because there would be no sense just to keep making the same exact car, same exact year, everything. But look how clear this is. Look how perfect this is. You can achieve this by watching these videos and following these steps.
Subscribe.
Why is this study important?
The study is important because driving at night is 3 times as risky as driving during the day.
The Headlight Restoration Pro.